Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Best of the West. I am your host, Jake Thomas, and as always, joining me is my partner in crime, Stacy Blackwood. Stacy, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm great. How about you?
Doing good, man. It's hot here in Alabama, ain't it?
It's miserably hot.
yeah,
Miserably hot.
the humidity's been kicking our butts down here. But good news is, fellas and ladies, football season's almost here. We got SEC Media Days coming up around the corner next week, actually. And then, spring, fall practice starts, and then you have football right around the corner. So it's here. So you'll be seeing our faces a lot more right here on Best of the West. But tonight, we got a pretty good episode for you. Get in that chat. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But as you can see on our title, we're going to be ranking the SEC quarterbacks who have won natties in the BCS and the college football playoff era. Join us. The chat's live. Let's get it going. Stacy, we talked off camera before we started. I feel like, and we feel like this is like a season, how that season went for the quarterbacks, because if it was just a game, then they had Jalen Hurts way too high because he got yanked in his championship game. I think he was like sixth maybe on the list, and we'll get to it here shortly. So I think it's a seasonal ranking. So what do you feel about it?
Yeah, we need more context. We got the list from SEC football videos there on Twitter, and in his rankings, just to run through it real quick, he has Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Mac Jones, AJ McCarron, Jalen Hurts, Jake Coker, Stetson Bennett, T. Martin, Chris Leak, Greg McElroy, Matt Flynn, and Matt Mock. That was his list, and the way we look at this, we feel like it's for a season. It can't be, single game performances because, like you mentioned, Jake, Hurts was pulled at halftime in his championship game for Tua Tagovailoa. So, and we all know what happened in that game. So, we're assuming that he is meaning by his list for the season. So that's how we're going to base our list, is that season in of itself for each of those championship winning quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll start at 15, make our way up to number one. But I think the first two, 15, 14, the two Matts, I think they go well there. No disrespect to any of the LSU, making any of them mad, but as quarterbacks that won the championship, that's probably your two, your three and two guys.
I think you could probably even include Greg McElroy in those. I mean, Greg McElroy did very little. I mean, he done what he needed to do. He was much like what Flynn and Mock were for LSU in those seasons. He was, really just did the bare minimum for that offense. It was really led by different players, and they were, I don't want to say they won championships despite those guys, because that's not the case either. But they really didn't have a tremendous impact on those teams.
Absolutely. I agree. Chris Leak and Greg McElroy are the next two. Like you said, you just mentioned about Greg. He could be down at the bottom. Chris Leak, I'm honestly just looking. The next guy after T. Martin is Stetson Bennett. I think Stetson a little bit too high. Maybe I'm being a little biased.
I'll be honest with you. I think I would probably have both T. Martin and Chris Leak above.
That's
Stetson
what I'm
Bennett.
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
That's just my personal opinion. That's nothing. I mean, you look at this list. That's some great college quarterbacks. That's not taking anything away from Stetson Bennett, but I just feel like T. Martin and Chris Leak were, had a little bit better years than what Stetson Bennett did. I mean, Stetson Bennett. I mean, you look at these teams. Arguably played with the best, had the best defense out of any of those teams. So, and that's really what carried Georgia.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really think. I mean, Stetson had some moments, of course, but I just think Chris Leak, for the body of work that he had that year, and T. Martin as well, I think I would put them both ahead of Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, you talking about making an impact in the game, and like you just mentioned it. It was that Georgia defense, and was it Cook at in the third and fourth quarter that just ran all over Alabama in the second half. So those two made more of an impact, I believe, than Stetson did in the game. Now he did have a couple nice plays, but overall, he just did the bare minimum to win the championship. So yeah, I believe T. Martin and Chris Lee both should be ahead of him. Now we're getting to a string of Bama quarterback. Honestly, looking at Jake Coker and Jalen Hurts, I would flip them two. I think honestly, I love Jalen. Been a big Jalen fan. But he struggled a little bit with his accuracy and passing. Jay Coker was the real deal. He was a very fluent passer. So I think I would switch them too.
See, I think those guys are both in the right spot. I think it's easy to forget about how good of a season. It wasn't a great year, but how good of a season Hurts had because of what happened against Clemson and what happened against Georgia there in the college football playoff. But and really what happened against Auburn. The last 3 or 4 games of that year really hurts in the eyes of Alabama fans. But he had a really solid season, and Jake Coker was just kind of. I mean, that team was Derrick. It was the Derrick Henry show. I mean, that's what it was. So
absolutely,
I don't want to give Coker more credit than what he deserves. Not that he don't deserve any credit. We love Jake Coker, but I probably agree with this that Hurts is just one notch above a Coker.
Okay. Hey, that's what we're doing this right here for. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So so now the top 5. AJ McCarron and Matt Jones, 5 and 4. Man, I've struggled with this one with Matt Jones because honestly, I feel like even though all that he did, I feel like I don't know. Hey, I think he needs to be ahead of Tebow. That may just me being a homer, and I know what Tebow did at Florida.
Well, see, here's the this is why context is important. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about the championship season, then yes, Mac Jones is ahead of Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But see, it's so hard to look past what Tim Tebow did in his career.
I know it is.
I mean, he is one of the best college quarterbacks of all time. But Mac Jones had one of the best singular seasons of all time. To me, Joe Burrow and Mac Jones have 2 of the best seasons in college football history from a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this I'm kind of getting ahead of what we're at, but you look at Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, and Mac Jones. Those 3 guys had singular seasons that are amongst the greatest of all time in college football.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, in this list, Mac Jones is being passed over by Tim Tebow because of who Tim Tebow is and the career he had at Florida.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And which national championship are we judging for AJ McCarron? The 2011 or the 2012?
I know, right? Yeah,
because he had a really good year in 2011, but 2012 was very. I mean, you got to remember, I think he was second or third in the Heisman that year.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good.
And if we're counting how many championships they won, if we're going by that list, he'll be number 1 because
right.
He has 2. But
yeah, so context is important here.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm glad you brought up the Mac Jones things and the Tim Tebow because as far as a singular season, Mac Jones is ahead of Tim Tebow.
Absolutely, I agree. But the body of work throughout the career, if this is what we're basing on, then yeah, Tim Tebow absolutely should be ahead of Matt Jones.
See, and if that's the case, if it's the body of work, nobody on that list won more championships than AJ McCarron.
Right, absolutely. You're talking about a guy that was consistent his entire career at Alabama.
Now I know Tim Tebow, he won 2 while he was at Florida, but he was a backup his
Yes.
freshman year when Chris Leak won it as the starting quarterback.
Who was in that list at the
Right,
bottom.
right. So yeah, all that's and then so I mean technically AJ has 3 because he was the backup when Greg McElroy won his. So
Yeah,
see
that's right.
that's why I keep saying that context is important here. But as far as singular seasons, the top 3 are Cam Newton, Joe Burrow, and Mac Jones.
Absolutely, absolutely. Out of those 3, if we just do singular season, who is number 1 in your mind?
Man, this is so tough, and
Mm-hmm.
we talked a little bit about this off air, but man, I don't know that I wouldn't pick Cam Newton if I'm just being
Oh
completely
man,
honest.
dude, that one season he had.
I mean,
I
he
mean,
was the Auburn offense.
yes,
I
he
mean, you
was.
look at what, and this is nothing against Joe Burrow, but he had uh, the running back's name, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had Jamar Chase. He had Jefferson. He had
Yeah,
Moss at tight end. He played behind the Joe Moore Award winning offensive line.
yeah,
None of that is against Joe Burrow, but Cam Newton had, a freshman running back in Michael Dyer who was
mm-hmm.
not up to he wasn't who he was yet. I mean, he was
Right,
good, but he wasn't great yet.
right.
So I feel like it was the Cam Newton show in 2010 for Auburn. I mean, he was their team.
Absolutely.
He was the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah,
And not that Joe Burrow wasn't, but as far as an impact on the field, singular season performance, I think I'm going to have to go with Cam Newton. And then I think it's probably Joe Burrow and then Mac Jones.
yeah. Mac deserves top 3 in a singular season talk for sure. But yeah, what Cam Newton did that year that he won, like you said, it was all about him. And even think on the defensive side, they just had Nick
Fairley.
Nick Fairley. I mean,
Well, see, that's I know it's been a long time ago, but I remember 3 names from that team that were just good players.
that's
I know
it.
there was more than that, but
Right.
I mean, you're going to remember the names Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Yeah.
the
Joe
Moss Idiot.
Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to remember those names for a long time because they were all so special. Cam
Right.
Newton was special for that Auburn offense, and that was it.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't name a single offensive lineman for Auburn.
No.
I still can't because they have not recruited offensive line real well at
I don't
all.
think they've recruited an offensive lineman since then.
I don't think they have either. They've been struggling offensive line wise, but yeah, I think if we go by that list, it needs to be Cam Newton and then Joe Burrow. And like we said, context is everything. The SEC football video guys really, clear on how they got to that point. I mean, and I guess they just seen what Joe Burrow did in that final year. And I mean, I understand he had a great year, but I mean, like
Well,
you
and
mentioned,
I'm
he
not
had all them
saying,
players.
yeah, I'm not saying we're right. I'm just saying that I
No,
think it's important to remember that Joe Burrow had a lot to work with. Cam Newton didn't have much.
no. I mean, like you said, you can name 3 people off that Auburn team. You can name several,
Just off
off
the
the
offense of LSU.
right. And then the defense had Derek Stingley Jr. and a couple other guys that had what was that linebacker that was really good.
Patrick Queen.
Yeah. So I mean, they had talent all around. That Auburn team didn't have much at all, and Cam Newton come in there and won them a championship that year.
Yep.
So what he did is very impressive by himself. So I think he's probably the best SEC quarterback we've seen win a championship. So
yeah, for a singular season performance, there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. If we base this on consistency, then I believe it would be AJ McCarron through the body of work.
Yeah, body of work would probably be AJ McCarron, Tim Tebow,
Tim Tebow.
And then maybe even Jalen Hurts because he played for another as a true freshman.
Yeah,
so
I forget about that.
He's up there. So yeah, it's that's interesting if you look at it from that point of view, and if you look at you talk about body of work. It would be hard for anybody to surpass AJ McCarron because he won the 2 as a starter.
Right.
and was a part of a third as a freshman. So, um, body of work would probably go to AJ McCarron.
Right. So, but just looking at the names on that list, man, there's some star power at quarterbacks that's come through the SEC, in the recent years. It's incredible. Alabama's finally getting to the point where, I felt like if AJ would have went to the right situation in the NFL, he would have made a good NFL quarterback. He just didn't get really an opportunity. Greg McElroy had some up and downs. We got a first. What's up, fellas? Trogo Delight something. I don't know.
What's up?
Boomer sooner real quick. You'll be in the SEC in a few years if you beat Alabama. I might give you one. You might be in it at the end of next year because with the Big 12 bringing in all the other teams by 2023, you and Texas may be in pretty quick. But
Hey,
thank you.
But glad you're in the chat, man. I appreciate that. How would you?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've had a chance to hear the conversation. We've been talking about SEC quarterbacks who've won a national championship in the BCS and college football playoff era. Who do you think had the best season the year they won the national championship? That's kind of been the discussion so far. We have a top three of Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, and Mac Jones for singular season performances that their team also won a championship. So just if you're still watching, would love to hear what you think about that and your thoughts on some of the best performances from SEC quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Stephon Bennett. Yeah,
That's pretty clever, actually.
That is pretty clever. Our good friend Stephen Willis, he has, we joke around with Corey all the time about, Stetson better get his NIL money, up real quick because he's not going to make an NFL, quarterback.
No,
So,
probably not.
So he better be signing some NIL deals, and there's some that's getting thrown around out there like absolute like wildfire right now. It's insane, So I don't.
Hey, what about look? We're talking about SEC quarterbacks. Texas, is going to be in the SEC in a couple of years. They have Arch Manning coming in. What about Mike Farrell saying that if his last name was not Manning, he would be a 3-star prospect?
Oh wow, that is interesting.
Yeah. Well, look, I think Arch is a good prospect. I think he's a really good prospect, but I do think, and to no fault of his own, that his last name has gave him a little bit of a bump.
I agree. Yeah, I think he could be the best man that comes out.
Yeah, no
doubt about it.
No doubt.
I'd be a preferred walk on, bro. I don't know. I get me being a homer again, but I like Eli Holston and Dylan Longerin that we just got.
Lonergan.
I like both of them just from the film I've seen. It just seems like they've had more competition that they played against and looked a lot better than Manning. Now, like I said, Manning may be a future Hall of Famer in the NFL and win multiple Super Bowls, but I think his name has got him a little bump.
Yeah, and I don't even mean anything bad towards Arch because he seems like a really good kid and seems like he's got his head on right and all that. But and it's not his fault that his name has kind of carried him to maybe a different level than what he should be. But I by no means mean that he's not a really talented prospect.
Yeah, it's just kind of odd that he didn't do the Elite 11 stuff, and that kind of soured some people, I believe. But it is what it is. If his agents or if you're allowed or family told him not to do it, then he didn't do it. He didn't have to, But just getting out there in the limelight, he just seemed like he's running from. Which I understand when you got that last name, that limelight is pretty big. So,
well, anything you do is going to be scrutinized under a microscope, whether it's good or bad. So,
right.
I would lay low as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Because once you get to Texas, there ain't no laying low.
No, because the second if you come in and you redshirt, and who's the guy in front of him? Yours or
Yeah,
whatever.
Quinn
Yeah,
Ewers.
yeah. If he has a successful season and he gets drafted, you'll be starting. Your second game next year is in Bryant Denny Stadium.
Well, I don't think Quinn will be draft eligible.
And will he not?
No, he's only a
Okay.
true sophomore this year,
You
or a
think,
redshirt freshman. I'm not sure what he would be. So,
but you think that spotlight get too big that if Manny don't get on the field by that year, he'll probably
no,
transfer out.
I don't think playing time is early is that important
Okay.
to Manning. I mean, you look at
Okay.
the schools that he was really interested in. It was going to be a while when he got to Alabama. I mean, he'd have to earn it. I mean, he'd
Yeah.
have to beat out Milroe,
Mm-hmm.
Simpson, and whoever else. Because Alabama planned on signing 2 guys in this cycle, so it'd have been Milroe, Simpson, and whatever other guy would have been in that class with him. So
Mm-hmm.
the competition, is also going to go to Georgia. Looking at Georgia, so they're going to have talent there. So
He
I
might have
don't.
gone on the field first at Virginia.
Well, I mean, the truth is, if playing time would have been important, I think Georgia probably would have been the spot.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think he could immediately come in. They may still give Stetson the reins, but
No, I mean,
yeah,
Stetson will be gone after this year, so
that's right. It would have been the Arch Manning show.
yeah, next
So
year as a freshman, Arch could have been the guy.
yep. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but we got a few more minutes, Stacy. Let's touch on just a little bit. I heard whispers that Nick Saban refused to hug Peter Woods.
As I think Saban refused to say, "Bring your own guts," and I think that's what done it.
Yeah, exactly. But we've had some more expansion talks come up across the nation here and across the college football world. What are I think USC and UCLA are pretty much they're going Big Ten,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Oregon, they're in talks about moving over there. I think Washington as well. Well, what's your thoughts on that real quick?
I'll be honest with you. I would be good if the SEC stayed with the 16 that they're going to have once Texas and Oklahoma joins the conference. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a incredible conference. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm struggling to find out how you even make the schedule for 16 teams.
yeah, I know.
When you start adding more teams than that, you're really not a conference anymore. You're just
Yeah,
you're another division of college football.
yeah,
So because you're never going to play everybody in a 4-year span, which is kind of the goal, so each player can kind of face off against every other team within that conference.
mm-hmm.
And the SEC already, since they only play an 8-game schedule, already does a very poor job of playing everybody. I mean,
Right.
so it's just you get more than 16 teams, it's too crowded. You're not really a conference anymore. Like I said, you're more of just your own division of college football.
Yeah, and it's kind of. Oh, we appreciate you joining tonight, man. Come
Thank
back.
you.
We do this every. We not. I would say every Tuesday night. Once football season starts up, we'll be back every Tuesday night. Probably back next Tuesday night since we got SC Media Days coming up. Have some good topics to talk about there. But the expansion, it's kind of odd because you look at the USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, you're having to travel some places over 3 time zones to play a ball game. You talk
Uh-huh.
about jet lag
Yeah,
and vice versa. I
I
mean,
guess
it's
region is doesn't matter anymore.
I
I
guess
mean,
not.
I don't know. I don't know all about the expansion stuff. It's all about money. It's all about
That's
TV
all it.
markets. That's what it's
Yep.
about. Is the Big Ten needed a TV market out west. There's no
Mm-hmm.
bigger market out west than Los Angeles. So
Yep.
let's just bring in USC and UCLA. That's what that's all about. So if
Absolutely.
the SEC does move or to expand even more, then you got to look at a market.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not sure Clemson makes a lot of sense. They already have South Carolina.
Right.
but maybe North Carolina or North Carolina State makes sense because you get that
Mhm.
Charlotte TV market.
Yeah.
That's a big market.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
look, Florida. We have Florida, so there's not really a whole lot that you can do there because, I mean, Miami doesn't really have a large fan base because they're a private school, so the alumni base is small.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Hard Rock Stadium is half full every Saturday when they have a home game because there's
Yeah.
just not a lot of fans there. They have
Right.
the fans they have are good fans. It's just not like it is, at Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare
Right.
or Kyle Field or any of those stadiums because of who they are. So now Miami's probably a good market for
Mm-hmm.
TV, but so that's what you got to look at is what TV market can Alabama or not Alabama can the SEC dip into. That's why they added Missouri. Look, they got St. Louis, they got Kansas City once they added Missouri.
Yeah.
Two good markets uh, for TV deals. Obviously,
Absolutely.
they added Texas A&M because of what Texas A&M is as a football program and what they can be because of all the the amount of money they can invest in that program,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of people that are in Texas. The TV market is just huge there. So
Yep.
that's what it's all about. Because I mean, the name of the game. Look, they don't make money selling seats anymore.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about the TV deals. It's about the money they can make from those TV deals, and that's the teams that they're going to bring into their conference. Is the teams that can help bring a new set of eyeballs to the screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If the SEC does reach out and get North Carolina, you not only just football wise, but basketball wise, if you bring in, you pull North Carolina, you're probably going to pull Duke at least for the basketball side because that is a huge rivalry, that happens. So you talk about having that in the SEC tournament, I mean, people will be watching that like crazy. And then more sports, baseball, softball. I mean, we got Oklahoma coming in. They just won the softball College World Series.
One of the most
Uh,
dominant softball teams ever, maybe the most
exactly.
dominant.
I mean, the SEC and softball is about to be like it's fixing to step up its game. Baseball bringing in Texas is always good. We just had, if you want to go ahead and count Texas and Oklahoma in, the top 4 teams were SEC schools. So I mean, it's just fixing to get more dominant, including in the football field as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens in the future. We could go down another rabbit hole about NIL. I'm still kind of indifferent about it because it's just way too much money being spent on players not knowing if they're going to be, that good or not. But
Well,
I mean,
I
I'd
don't.
say when you do it, I mean, you offer a kid $8 million, he's going to take it. Hell, I would take it if somebody offered me $8 million.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I mean, but
There's
what
not
you
much.
want to say?
There's not much I wouldn't do for $8 million.
I know, yeah,
But
exactly.
on NIL, just quickly,
Yeah,
I don't care how much somebody's willing to pay a player because that's what the free market's about.
right.
But there needs to be some type of oversight committee
Mm-hmm.
making sure that because who's going to mess this up. It's not going to be the kids.
Mm-mm.
It's not going to be the universities. It's going to be the coaches
Right.
and the parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's who can make this NIL thing ugly.
Yeah.
Because right now, it's just do what you want to do.
Yeah. Exactly. I just, I, I just don't like it because to me it seems like recruiting isn't recruiting like it used to be. It's all about the money and who can. It seems like who can pay me more.
Yeah,
I
and
just
look, real quick, we all seen the video now of the Texas A&M assistant saying, the people in these suites will pay you a lot of money if you come to school here.
yeah.
I mean, I hope somebody asks Jimbo Fisher next week about that. Look,
Please.
it's not illegal. That's not,
Yeah.
but the way that Jimbo Fisher come out and just berated Coach Saban
Yeah.
because of what Coach Saban said, now that they have a recording of one of his assistants telling players that's what will happen if they come there,
Mm-hmm.
shows how big of an idiot Jimbo Fisher is and how out of touch he is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry to all my Texas A&M fans, but I mean that's the truth hurts. I'm sorry.
The truth
Your
does hurt.
coach, your coach come out in an animated rage about what Nick Saban said when Nick Saban didn't say anything that was not truthful.
Right.
You denied, like it's I don't know what, and then you literally have an assistant coach get caught saying what you denied that you had any dealings with.
Right.
I
And
mean, it
threw a
just makes.
hissy fit.
I mean, he did. That's
Yeah.
if Jimbo would have just come out and said, I don't really appreciate Coach Saban talking like that, and we do our best to play by the rules and put ourselves in the best position to land the best prospects and all that. That's different. But the way
Right.
he acted in that press conference, Jake, now while with the dust clearing, he's looking like an idiot, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term. I mean,
Yeah.
I call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't blame you. And he definitely, I think, hurt his image there after that assistant coach come out, and the tirade itself, too, because it was just unnecessary. There's a TikTok video running around where he's like got big puffy eyes and looks like he's been crying. They put it over when he was speaking to the media. It was just so funny. But
Probably that Snapchat filter.
yeah, I think it was a Snapchat filter. It was awesome. But anyway, Stacey, you got anything else you want to add?
No, man, I'm just excited. Like you mentioned, to start the show, SEC Media Days is next week, so there's going to be a lot to talk about there, and we're
Hmm.
excited about that. And fall practice will be starting in just a few weeks now. I
Yeah,
mean, about a month, or not even a month, really. And then games start in around 50 days or so.
right.
So the season's closing in. We're in the dog days of summer, but once you reach SEC Media Days, you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm excited about that and excited about this upcoming season.
Absolutely. And we got through the summer, and I mean we're right on the edge of football. So I said the other night on SEC at the dark, I want to say it again here. Congratulations to the Birmingham Stallions for winning the USFL. They're our local home team here at Alabama. They look really good all season. Hoping the USFL makes it, because we got the XFL coming in the week after the Super Bowl ends. SFL starts until I think April, and then the USFL is also coming back in April as well. So there's a potential we could have football year round. With just like 2 or 3 weeks before SEC Media Day starts. So if all three hold up, that's going to be amazing, because I could live a football year round. I don't know if my wife could. I would be kind of useless around the house, but it is interesting to see if these other two can last. So, but
No doubt.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, I don't have anything else. As Stacey, if you don't have anything else, thank y'all. Thank you. I forgot your name. I cannot say that. Trogolite. Trovan.
Troglot. No, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll
something
just
like
call we'll
that.
just call him Mr. Boomer.
Yeah, Mr. Boomer. Thank you for being in the chat tonight. Hope you come back next Tuesday, probably around the same time. Of course, we both do. He's still on. Oh, Stacey and I both do Todd Talk Live. We'll probably try to get something out here pretty soon for you guys. I'll be on SEC at the dark tomorrow night, so catch us right here on this network, y'all's conference network. So
Yeah,
that
yeah. Look,
go ahead.
the Y'all's Conference Network
Mhm.
is going to be streaming Best of the West, Beast of the East, SEC After Dark here on this channel that you're watching right now. And of course, like Jake mentioned, you can catch us on our own YouTube channel, Tide Talk
Mhm.
Live. So make sure you're subscribed to both of those channels and all the channels
Absolutely.
that kind of help support the Y'all's Conference Network, which is a growing brand here on YouTube. And we certainly appreciate Steven for having us on this
Mhm.
network. We're having a good time, and all the other guys that are part of the network, Corey and Jeb, and everybody else. So Vinny,
Absolutely.
lot of fun doing this with all these guys. So we really
Israel.
appreciate. Yeah, hey, yeah, let's
Hey,
bring all the fans you want.
that's right.
So we appreciate you joining us tonight. And like we said, make sure you subscribe to this channel and go ahead and subscribe to Tide Talk Live as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope it does not turn into a pro sooner channel. But
Hey, I'm pro for whatever the chat wants because that's who's supporting us.
yeah, that's exactly right. But once you guys join the SEC, if you know of a podcast or have a friend that does podcasting for Oklahoma sports, let us know. We can add him to this little network that we have. So we still need. I think we're still missing some Auburn networks. We're missing Mississippi State, Arkansas. So we still have some openings if you want to join this and be a part of this growing network. So just let us know, let Steve know. We'll be glad to set you up and help you out along the way. But for Best of the West, I am Jake Thomas, along with my partner in crime, Stacey Blackwood. Thank y'all. See y'all next week. Good night. Roll Tide.